Jai Shri Gurudev, Shri Bhakti Santa Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Jai Shri Guru Maharaj, Shri Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and Jai all of the dear devotees ki Jai. All devotees are dear, very expensive commodity, very valuable commodity, but dear to the heart devotees ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Indeed, we'd always start correspondence with all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. And we need to start everything with Guru and Gauranga. Jai, where is Rupanuga Prabhu? Out beside it, Rupanuga Prabhu is beside a fire truck. I hope that's a good sign.
Yes, I nearly wasn't going to be able to join in, but there's an emergency and the place that I was in is on fire from a popcorn machine. But so the benefit of it is that I can tune into you, which I'd much rather do.
All right. Well, I hope it's not your place it's on fire.
Yeah.
It is your place. Is it your place on fire? Okay, we can't hear you. Anyhow.
No, it's a building in Byron Bay.
Oh, okay,
I won't take up any more of your time, but I just sort of thought I'd explain where I am.
Okay, but interesting, because this is a reminder, anything can happen at any time. So even from a popcorn machine in the Western world with all its rules and regulations, immediately a fire can burn out. It can burn out.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, Rupanuga.
Hare Krishna.
Good to have a touch of Australia and a promise of the sun to come for us on this side of the world. Dandavad. Not only that, it is summer in Australia. Just see. All right, so somewhere is summer, somewhere is winter, and everywhere the devotees can be in this modern world by the grace of Zoom. So we've come together on Zoom, happily chanting the glories of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All right, and in the meantime, Sevarupa Devirasi joined us from South Africa, and Barun from California, he's joined us, right? Our friend Barun is just connecting to the audio. Give him a moment. So Barun, welcome back. Happy to see your smiling face, Jai. And Priyananda Devirasi is hiding within not a lotus flower, but a lily there in Chiang Mai. Hiding behind a lily in Chiang Mai, we can say Bhagavan Prabhu in Venezuela, Dandavar Prabhu, always looking like a sadhu. Dandavar, reminding us what a sadhu should look like. Sober sadhu, Jai. And Kumkum Dasi with us, always looking after, overseeing us quietly. She's looking over us with a parent's eye, as she is from the generation of Srila Prabhupada, from teenage years. How fortunate. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj and Srila Gurudev, mature, I mean, in the sense of Krishna conscious, mature lady, what's the word for a gentleman, for a lady? Lady's the word for a gentleman, for a lady. Lady is lady. And Udaran Prabhu, with such big earphones, all the better to hear Hare Katha with. Jai Udaran Prabhu, very welcome. And I saw yesterday the Sankirtan party in Latvia in snow, like thick snow, not just a little bit of snow on the grass, but in thick snow. So Sankirtan going on in the snow. So Udaran Prabhu, welcome also, Jai. And of course, Paramananda Prabhu is here with us, with his also, glance over us all with his rich creeper container full of Vaishnava experience. He's a container of Vaishnava mercy. means Gurudev gave so much mercy to Paramananda Prabhu, and his container doesn't have holes in. His pocket doesn't have holes in. He's kept the mercy in the pockets. And Praneshwari Devi Dasi, outside, the Pushpa Samadhi looks a little different. The Pushpa Samadhi in Mayapur or Srila Prabhupada, is that correct? No.
This is an old photo of the Chandrodaya Mandir.
Okay. And apparently that Chandrodaya Mandir is gently sloping. It's built on a platform floating on the sand, because that area is sand, and that Chandrodaya Mandir is very big, and heavy, and how they made it was floating on the sand, on a big platform. And I don't know if they corrected it, but just in the photo is looking a little bit of an angle. And in the late 1990s, they had engineers there to understand how to prevent it sloping any further. So I don't know the present history, but I'm happy to see its gentle slope in the photo, because it's reminding us, okay, reminding us there of Mayapur and the Leela of Srila Prabhupada in his Pushpa Samadhi. Okay, dear devotees, we've come together, so let us come straight as quickly as possible to back to basics, because who is with us happily. And on the Facebook, we maybe have somebody with us. Let us see. I saw my face there saying Hari Bol. I don't know how that happened, because I didn't say anything. Anyhow, Jagamohini Devi Dasi, Maladhari Devi Dasi, and Annukul Chandra Prabhu, I believe, is Alessandro. So very welcome to each of you that I can see there. My obeisances, in fact, let us, after our chit chat, we did start with all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, but let us start with a mini Vandanam. So Vandeham, today we'll simply do Vandeham, one verse. And remember, we've gone through this verse before, word by word. It is complete in its obeisances, but of course, there are more expanded obeisances that we traditionally follow too. But today, Vandeham, Panchatattva, and well, Vandeham, Vanchakalpa, Panchatattva, and Hare Krishna. So slowly together, but with the microphones off. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Pada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangs Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitang Tang Sa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitangs Cha. Okay, Om Agyan. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvijay Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, we were going to do only one verse, but we ended up doing a few more of our mini Vandana. Now the point is, and I wonder if we do have all of these in one place, but all of those verses we've gone through at previous times, like word by word, and hopefully by now we are becoming accustomed to the meaning as we are chanting. But the meaning must come from the heart, of course, and maybe we can gather those verses we just recited in one place and share amongst the devotees. Maybe on that Facebook page, Praneshwari did is always helping the devotees by keeping a record and keeping the various things we cover on the Facebook. But because we do say these very regularly, then I think we've covered these in different classes. But if they're together in one place, we can just click and see, oh yes, okay, this is my reminder of the words. And I also, not only I keep coming back to remind myself to what we are saying. It's very easy just to, well, it may not even be very easy just to be like a parrot, because we still have to remember things. But it is easier to be a parrot than it is to recite with meaning. Hare Krishna. Jai Amiya Sindhu Prabhu just joined us. Dandavat Amiya Sindhu Prabhu. I look, the mobile phone, one hand Dandavat. We are becoming accustomed to this. And Amiya Sindhu Prabhu, are you in Navadip, Mayapur, or are you in Vrindavan or somewhere else? My guess is...
Yes, in Mayapur.
In Mayapur, okay. Very good. So maybe just to get us started, because really we must remember Mayapur, we must remember Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, Navadip, Koladeep, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaurkishoras Balaji Maharaj, Srila Saraswati Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, everything. Navadip is the center of focus, the center of our good fortune, where our fortune has come from, as Guru Maharaj has emphasized repeatedly. This is the origin of our good fortune forever. So, Amiya Sindhu Prabhu, you are there. Mystically, you're able to talk to us, and we can see you, and so can Krishna. Let us know something from Mayapur, however mundane it may be. I mean, in the sense of the weather, or I do not know, but well, you're in Mayapur.
It's been raining a couple days, and still not so cold. And in Vrindavan, Avadut Maharaj is in Vrindavan, so they're all wearing warm clothes, and here it's still like very light, pleasant weather, and everything is beautiful. Everything is wonderful, divine, holy dham. And Avadut Maharaj is thinking to bring more devotees from Russia. So I'm making visas now for many devotees. He's bringing his full group. Then I think slowly something will be happening. We're actually thinking to rent this building. I'll show you now. This is building, which is available for rent. So maybe we'll get this building and start doing something.
And how big is the Ganges? Mother Ganges, I know she's infinite, but how high is the river?
River is not so high. River is quite narrow, and they opened like this because when the Ganga is getting bigger, they open new ghats for the boats, which is deeper on the land. But now they opened like the ghat which is most inside the Ganga. So that's it's like the very, very narrow now. But super fast. We've been to Ganga yesterday, and we were surprised how fast it is going, and we saw some dolphins jumping there. And recently one crocodile came also, so there was a big news everywhere on the TV. Somebody saw a crocodile swimming in Ganga. And I was talking to Budev Prabhu, and he said, oh, then in Nityananda, he was swimming on Ganga with crocodiles, and now it's coming again. So so lots of we went for a walk deeper, like some deeper area yesterday, some goshpara where lots of goshes are living with the cows, and we were surprised how many cows. Every cow have like calves, so many animals, so many like this different creatures, and everybody have babies. Everybody's very happy, very, very happy place. And yes, and one cow recently gave birth just next to our house, and that calf became super famous. He's like staying there, and everybody knows his name. His name is Damodar, because he was born on Kartik months. Everybody's passing by, everybody calling his name. Everybody has to stop and pet him. So he's so now like accustomed to it that everybody has to pet him. And so he's become like hand pet, and very happy calf, very naughty. So like this, it's very, very sweet atmosphere, and all the devotees engaged in some, service, singing, chanting. I'm very happy here. I want to go to Russia to see my son, but just very difficult for me to leave the holy town. I don't know how I will be without it.
And how old is your son, Ratnakar, now?
Ratnakar is 13 years now. 13 next year, he will be 14, so it will be time for him to get his passport. And he going to Lakhta. He's in St. Petersburg. He's going to Lakhta sometimes. Very happy. Also when he goes to the temple.
Okay, right. Amiya Sindhu, thank you for bringing us close to Mayapur and Navadip and the Ganges and the dolphins. I'm happy to hear about. And actually, I'm happy to hear about the crocodile too, because there were many crocodiles there, we know, in the past. And as you said, Nityananda used to play by jumping on the back of the crocodiles. And then he would ride the crocodiles and everyone would be alarmed. Oh, but Nityananda said, no, I'm not afraid.
Did you have crocodiles in Ganga when you were in India?
No, and they must be somewhere, because they think they slaughtered them all, because, I'm sorry, but the British and everybody came and they see big animals as sport. And then not only that, the killing of the crocodiles in the river, now they've got guns and all these things, but they still must be somewhere. And so now here's proof of it, some crocodiles. All right, so dear devotees, any topics coming from Mayapur actually are very purifying for us to remember that land. And the prediction by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Navadip Dham Mahatmya, the prediction recorded there that in future a great town will come here with one large temple in particular. And we see that in a matter of a few years, it has happened and is continuing to happen there in Mayapur. And when the train arrives in Navadip station, underneath Navadip in big letters, obviously it's the name of the station, then on the announcing, the board that identifies the station when you come in, then it says birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Navadip is on the map. All right, dear devotees, we've heard from Navadip, from Mayapur, and let us now hear from you. What have you brought for us this week? Who would like to bring something to the table, as they say?
Maharaj, before we start, you have Dandavats from Lila Shakti in Brazil.
Okay.
She might not join because she went to a retreat, ashram life retreat in Campo Jordão. But she is sending obeisances to you.
Jai. All right, many thanks. And by the way, in Campos de Jordão, also that's the name of the village. The name of the ashram is Krishna Shakti Ashram. It is a very beautiful ashram in Brazil, in the mountains, and not like the Himalayas or the Alps, but definitely mountains as far as walking goes. Anybody who goes there, you've got to walk up and down hill to go everywhere. And it's a very beautiful ashram, most presentable. And right this weekend, now is Saturday and Sunday there, and Saturday and Sunday with us all, I suppose, but then having a retreat. And yesterday, Trivikram Maharaj, he called me up and showed me the Mongol Aarti yesterday morning, the morning program, and part of it. And we saw that 3 devotees went there from Uberlandia, which is, I think it's like 1,000 kilometers away. Brazil is a big country, maybe 950 kilometers or something. And so it's not, when we think of Brazil and we hear different places, we think, oh yes, they're nearby. But no, it's very distinct places. And so 3 devotees went from Uberlandia to join in with that festival. And Trivikram Maharaj is very happy. And Rohini Shakti is also very happy. Rohini Shakti's got her own particular, she's a star, from literally a star from the television and this, that, and the other. And she has her own circle, particular circle that Rohini Shakti draws, attracts naturally. And they're all, everybody having a festival together there. So it's inspiring to know, right? I mean, when we had the Veda Life festivals, which still go on, but in a smaller way, and the different festivals around the world, then Gurudev was very happy to hear of these, and all the devotees are happy to hear that, oh yes, programs are going on, festivals are happening, devotees are coming together happily, even during the, the lockdown and the travel difficulties. So that's a little news from there. Yes, happily. All right, dear devotees, and Kumkum's about to speak. I do believe I saw her ready to speak. Kumkum Devi, would you like to share something with us this week?
By your kindness, Maharaj. Recently, I've been very enlivened by the questions from a very nice devotee who sometimes stays here. Is usually in Sokel Ashram. And the question that, one of the many that came up, reminded me of one of the first things that I heard from Srila Prabhupada that was very encouraging to me. And it's from the 5th chapter of Science of Self-Realization. And what is so poignant is Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. He says this consciousness is the original natural energy of the living entity. When we hear this transcendental vibration, this consciousness is revived. This simplest method of meditation is recommended for this age. So these discussions were very helpful to understand that Krishna consciousness is not a sectarian concern. And whatever background we're coming from, some people, many of us, of course, are coming from Christian background, but different kinds of Christianity, they don't always get along, or Judaism or something like that, but also, Buddhism or Hinduism, so many different sectarian concerns or conceptions of religion. And so when he discussed this, it helped us to see that it is the Sanatan Dharma of the Jiva soul. And I would love to see if this particular devotee would like to reflect on his thoughts also.
This particular devotee means Borun.
So I put you on the spot. So sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know how advanced or comprehensive my response thoughts are, but yeah, it really struck me because I my mind always goes to trying to accomplish something. So I'm here in SoCal right now, so I try to chant, do Seva 10 program and these things, and I a lot of times I forget, my perspective shifts in trying to get to Krishna consciousness, and rather than allowing it to naturally happen by doing the proper things, and allowing the environment to correct my perception each day gradually. So yeah, the chapter was very powerful for me, and really in reinforcing that, along with showing the comparison, or not comparison, but the relation between this conception with different forms of yoga, and that this is our natural place. So that gives me a lot of hope, rather, because in society, a lot of times, when I go out, it's without knowing it, it's always trying to accomplish something. So that was my reflection.
And Srila Guru Maharaj described that we have so many coverings. We already understand we've got coverings. We think we're a human, we think we're a man, male or female, whatever age we may be, likes, dislikes, and so many coverings from our past lives. But when every covering is taken off, which is covering the identity of the person, what's left behind? What is the Sanatan Dharma, the eternal duty of that person inside? Then his natural nature is that he is a servitor, because the Jiva soul has energy, is alive. Is not dead, but alive. And so when all the coverings are there, what is the nature of that life? The life in its healthy way, natural way, will be naturally attracted to service of Krishna, service of the Lord, service of the center. So the Jiva soul's nature is finally a devotee, and this is what we're all trying to uncover. So Sanatan Dharma, indeed, Sanatan Dharma, it is the eternal duty, not an ism as we hear, but it is the central theme which all religion, if we look at it, is trying to come to understand. Hare Krishna, Jai.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
there is a verse from the magic book. Why it is magic? Quite often when they're on a certain subject, you just open this book and the verse, which is really directly related to that subject comes up. So it's really amazing. So when Varun was talking about Sanatan Dharma and different types of yoga, and really we can call different paths, spiritual paths of yoga, because yoga means to connect, to acquire connection, acquire proper angle of vision, actually, if we dig deeper into the meaning of the yoga. So in this verse from Prapanna Jivanamritam, and Prapanna Jivanamritam, Varun, you should get acquainted with this book. In fact, not just get acquainted, you have to have this book on your table. And really, several times a day, wherever you feel, open it. And there was a devotee of Srila Saraswati Thakur, very close devotee of Srila Saraswati Thakur, who later became Bhakti Guru of Giri Maharaj. His name was Paramananda. I was named after him by the grace of Srila Gurudev. So he said that every day he finds so much nectar and nourishment from Prapanna Jivanamritam. And Prapanna Jivanamritam was practically, and Maharaj, do correct me if I'm wrong, was the first book, substantial book compiled by Srila Guru Maharaj, was it? It was 1943, something else was there, but when only about this book. Was it?
It may well be. I mean, it's the first time I've even thought about it. And so I'm thinking was there something else that came before? But I think you're quite right. I don't know that Guru Maharaj like published anything or produced anything when he was in the Gaudiya Math. No doubt he was helping with the publication.
Articles, compositions, no doubt, poetic compositions, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur Viraha Gita and other things. But really, why we're mentioning that? So Guru Maharaj establishes Math officially in 1941, correct, Maharaj?
He entered in 41, and we understand it was 1942 Ratha Yatra that he officially sort of declared and had the festival for opening. Yes.
Being a Shastra Nipun, he understands to study all the Shastras. Well, in many ways, it's not affordable by many people. So being very merciful to the future followers of Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math, he compiles this book, which is the essence of all the scriptures for us to study, for us to follow. And it's beautifully done with all the gradations, slowly taking us to the highest goal. So again, I'm mentioning it's a magic book in many ways. So just now, when you were speaking of different yogas, I opened the page and see what comes up. Page 150, it's 918 of Prapana Jivanamritam. And there is a verse by Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, in case you forgot. Yoginam apisar, and famous verse, Yoginam apisar visham bad ketentam taratmana shadavam bhajate yumam same yuktamamo mataha. And Krishna says, of all the yogis, and we're not, again, just to make it clear, we're not talking about those yogis, the traditional, a cliche type of yogis. Anyone who is in the path of self-realization, searching for answers, is a yogi. So of all yogis who follow the paths based on action, knowledge, and meditation, karma, jnana, dhyana, the topmost are those who abandon their respective attitudes in order to take refuge of their heart's faith in my personal potency, and thus engage in my pure devotional service. And here's the translation. That was Guru Maharaj's presentation of the verse. And then here's the translation of the verse. In my opinion, my means Krishna is saying, of all types of yogis, the most elevated of all is he who surrenders his heart to me and serves me in devotion with sincere internal faith. And that confirmation we can find in many different places, from the Shastras, from the great Vaishnavas. So they're all saying that we're not interested in religion, we're not interested in a certain school of this and that, we're not interested in anything else. In fact, devotees go that far, as Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says, if you're not accepting, just accept. Sounds sentimental. Don't have to analyze, don't have to study, don't have to understand. You have puppy brain anyway. He says, if you don't accept the lotus feet of Nityananda and his merciful shelter, I will kick you with my left foot in your head. Just to make that point. That's coming from a parshad of Lord Nityananda. Why is he doing that? Because he knows very well if he does that, the Supreme Personality Godhead will come and give shelter to that person forcefully, because he doesn't want his devotee to commit such an offense. To the jiva soul, kicking somebody in the head with the left foot is a very offensive thing. And being of Indian descent, you probably know how offensive it is to touch anybody with feet in general, especially the left one, and especially on the hand, the topmost part of the body. And then another devotee, Paramananda Saraswati Thakur, he's different. He's choosing more humble approach. He's saying, but very straightforward to Dante Nitai Trinakam Padayor Patya Kritva Chakaku Satat Etam Aham Bravini Hasadava Sakalameva Vishayadur. He says, Hasadava, oh great personality who knows so much, who experienced so much. Hasadava Sakalaya Vishayadur. Chaitanya Chandra Charate Charane Kurutanuragi. He says, whatever you know, oh gentlemen, I accept you're a very learned person. You're the academic, you're the topmost professor, whatever there can be as a title for that kind of knowledge. Please hear my sincere plea. I'm offering obeisances at your feet with the straw between my teeth, with the most utmost humble mood. and asking you just one thing. So please do it. Throw away whatever you collected. Put it in the garbage. It means nothing. And just take shelter of Gauranga. Then you will be delivered. See, he's taking a straw between his teeth. Means in extremely humble mood, he is begging one to do so. Accept Gauranga. Accept his teachings. And Maharaj often remind us about Gauranga Mahaprabhu's teaching, and the topmost, I mean, for us, especially as a practitioner, the topmost, without that, we cannot even move forward. Otherwise, without that, we're unable even to accept the gift of Gauranga, the holy name, unable to practice. So that mood is very important. Anyhow, that came from Prapana Jivanamritam. So Varun, put it on your table.
Thank
in
you.
Digital form or physical form. I prefer physical form.
Thank you. Yeah, I have the book, but I've only seen the cover so far.
That's a beautiful.
So I will pick it up. I need to begin reading it. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Beautiful. So I want to be a devotee. Can somebody help me? Devapriya Devirasi joined us. Good to see you here, to see you, to know you're there. We can see you by your name, Devapriya, but very happy to know you're with us too.
Dandavat Maharaj and Dandavat to everyone.
Dandavat, Jai Jai.
Maharaj, I can help you to be devotee.
Oh, you can? Okay. I had something.
I heard
okay.
If someone acquired some wealth and not distributing it, eventually he will just become a hoarder. There will be no effect. But if you distribute your wealth will increase, and eventually you will become a great devotee, Maharaj. But you must distribute it. I'm not saying that you're not a great devotee. I'm just, pointing out.
Maharaj,
here to listen.
Can I tell one story? Actually, I wanted to tell about yesterday also.
Yes, please do, Prabhu. Yeah.
Yesterday I went to Yoga Pit and I made one friend. He was like, I stopped to have some chai, and he asked me like where is he from, like where I'm from, and then he told me his story. He grew up next to Yoga Pit. He went to this Bhaktivinod school, and his father was there, and he was staying like in the Goshala, milking cow 50 liters a day. And he was like, while he was telling like his story, how he lived next to Yoga Pit and how many things he's doing, he was like really getting like in ecstasy. I was like really enjoying talking to him because he was getting so happy. And then I asked him, and I actually was talking to him, and I wanted to, somehow I was thinking about you, Maharaj, like I would love to tell this story to you. And then I asked him, what's your name? He said, my name is Madhusudan. And then he put his hand up. He was very happy, like he was really in ecstasy. And he says, and my chai shop is next to Yoga Pit, and his chai shop is like door to door in front of Yoga Pit. And he was so happy, so much in ecstasy. And then he became much more happy, and he started like looking something for him and said, and I'm a devotee, I have Katimala. So he was like really like genuine devotee. He was like so happy to live like his life. And he have so much like anandam, so much love in his heart. But in his mind, he was thinking he's devotee because he have Kantimala. So that was very sweet. And his name was Madhusudan. So he's my friend now.
What a pious birth. And
yes.
Born close to where Keshto, our head cowman, the head cowman looking after the cows in Navadip in Chaitanya Saraswati. His name was Krishna Das Prabhu, which in Bengal, just think about Krishna Das, Krishna Das, Krishna Das, say it a few times and you come up with Keshto. So
that's what.
Who is Krishna Das? The name becomes Keshto in Bengal, kind of regular language. So Keshto Prabhu, he was born near there in the village behind the Yoga Pit. Behind the Yoga Pit, there are some fields.
That's where we went yesterday. That's Goshpara. So many Goshes there. So many cows.
Oh, there you are. And you see, and he's a cowherd man. And how sweet his Bengali. The Bengali, that village language there, it is so sweet. Gurudev liked his Bengali so much. Very, very sweet Bengali. And his nature was just completely natural. When we're saying about like natural, what's the natural function of the soul? That devotion to Krishna. Devotion is the natural function of the soul. And anyway, Keshto Prabhu, he just did so much. All the time. When you look after cows, and you look after many cows, from the before sunrise, like very first thing in the morning to the last thing at like 24 hours a day, basically, got some concern with the cows, because always something's happening with cows. Just like with children, you got a whole bunch of children. Someone's getting injured, someone's escaping, someone's doing something. And so there's always something taking place in the Goshala. And when you were mentioning about that new calf, Damodar, earlier on, then I was also thinking about how in the West we see, and not in India, a little bit in India, in some places, in the cities perhaps, but we see in the West, so many people have pet dogs. They got pet dogs or pet cats, but I see there's so much the dogs, and they give so much affection to the dog. But a cow is much more than a dog in its nature and sweetness and everything. And a cow, so sweet. And so Keshto Prabhu, he was looking after the cows, and we're having a little bit of a cow remembrance morning. But how is it that there's this curtain or brick solid concrete wall in the consciousness that doesn't allow in the West the people to understand the nature of cows, and then go through this like mechanical way of treating cows as machines to give milk and meat? Horrific. Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna. Okay, Madhusudan Prabhu of the, what walla? I don't understand this word chai. and Sulakshana, she made a Indian chai monk's kitchen video just recently too. Just see the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Saraswati. Krishna. Some of you know Devapriya, that knows Kumkum, knows Praneshri Didi, knows Amiya Sindhu, knows Paramananda, knows Bhagavan Prabhu must know too. The one devotee, Siddhanti Maharaj, who is Chidananda Prabhu. Yeah. And this isn't about chai, but Gurudev was asked one time, what is the difference between Chaitanya Saraswati Mata and ISKCON? And then Guru Maharaj, because he was a transcendental humorist, don't forget. And he said, oh, ISKCON dress better than us. And then at that moment, Siddhanti Maharaj, at that time, Chidananda, walks into the room, and he's classic, didn't care about his appearance to the slightest degree. And then, not that he was unpresentable, but he was, you can say, raga marga in his, the way he can be a little disheveled in his appearance. And when I came to the West, I haven't noticed it so much, but when I first came to the West, I noticed so many people deliberately wearing different socks on their 2 feet, or however many feet they got, but on their feet, like they're deliberately wearing 2 different socks as a fashion. And I think that Siddhanti Maharaj started that. because he just didn't care about his socks. And this is at a time when everybody wore the same socks on the 2 feet. Anyway, Siddhanta Maharaj started that fashion.
In early 90s, I went with ISKCON Parikrama then into Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math. So we circumambulated the temple, the Nath Mandir, the Guru Maharaj, offered Dandavas to his Samadhi. I don't remember anyone, but I could never forget Chidananda Prabhu. I saw him just for a moment, but he was unforgettable. Remember the Shikha?
Oh, yes.
That stood up like an antenna and everything else comes together. I can never forget him.
Hare Krishna. You know what I had in mind for today, but now it is too late. But this fits in very well, and maybe we'll pick it up next time, was to go through the song, Oh Hey Vaishnava Thakur, word by word, and like the meaning and the relevance, because the devotees, they really are the life and soul. They're our direct family, our direct connection. And this is going to be my thought, but we're automatically chanting some of the glories, remembering the devotees and remembering Keshto, our cowherd man, Siddhanti Maharaj, and remembering everything. Actually helped very much by Amiya Sindhu Prabhu's presence there in Navadip. Hare Krishna. The simplicity of the villages. Keshto, yes, he can maybe sign his name, but maybe not much more than that. But how much mercy he got from Gurudev. Looking after the cows. And Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, when we Westerners came, then he gave instruction, because we are also helping to engage the devotees who are coming to the temple. After some time, then Guru Maharaj giving us this service, I was helping the secretary then devotees are coming, and Guru Maharaj, he instructed that as far as possible, the devotees coming from the West, they will serve in the Goshala. This will be very purifying for them, because we've come mostly, not everybody, I know, not everybody, but mostly we've come from abominable background, eating abominable things. And to serve the cows in the Dham, then Guru Maharaj saw that as very purifying for the devotees. And Keshto was the head servitor, and the cows knew it too. But he looked after the cows by affection. And we were very sad when later some others, they come and they not affectionately looking after the cows, but Keshto with affection looked after the cows. Yes, Paramananda, I see you unmuted.
A story came up when you started saying about the seva that Gurudev encouraged devotees to go to Goshala and do some seva there.
Yes.
Remember Balavanta Prabhu of Tomsk? He was telling that story, where he was painting the walls from the morning till late afternoon. He almost finished, literally. A few brush strokes left on the wall. So he's just taking a break. A whole day spent in the heart seva. And some Bengali devotee coming in, and he's just picking up the brush and just playing a little bit, finishing the last strokes. And that moment, that very moment, Gurudev comes in. He's saying, oh, he's praising that Prabhu. Oh, that Prabhu, look how wonderful seva he just did. The whole wall is painted. Oh, he's such a great Vaishnava. Balavanta is sitting there trying to be humble, practicing Trinadati, but he was happily telling that story. And that was one of the Goshala Seva.
Krishna's arrangement.
And you have many stories, by the way.
Huh?
You have some Goshala stories.
I have Goshala stories. Well, definitely some Goshala stories, but I just had one Goshala story. What was I about to say? I forgot, but something did jump in my mind just now about the Goshalam.
Well, you said that others didn't do as well as Keshtu, and that was pretty much the end of your.
Well, no, the Keshtu, he did everything with heart, but then, you know, unfortunately, some others came. Well, unfortunately, Keshtu had to stop doing that service after some time. His feet literally were rotting away, and he went to the doctor, and they put all this red like paint on his feet and so many things. And then Gurudev said, Keshtu, you can't be always, because his feet were always in the damp in the water, and then he's using the rubber boots, what we call Wellington boots, but then the feet still very humid, because Bengal is very humid, and very strongly he got like foot rot. So then Gurudev gave him the service of looking after the rice fields at Sinjali and Para. I forget the other name, but right there, it's a few kilometers away from the temple, we have the rice fields. And then Keshtu, he managed the rice fields there. So when Keshtu came away from the cow saver, then some others who had been working, then they sort of got promoted, but not with the same affection. Anyway, we're thinking about the devotees and devotional. Oh, I was going to say, talking of Siddhanti Maharaj, Chidananda Prabhu, he served in the cow's shed too, so happily. I mean, very enthusiastically. Whatever was needed, he did. He served in the Goshala. He looked after Gurudev's dogs, and Gurudev had saver dogs. They're not dogs which come in the house and think that they are the master. Those dogs, their saver at night was patrolling the temple, and the very intelligent dogs, the German Shepherd called Rosie and her husband, arranged marriage. India has arranged marriage system, and Gurudev arranged her marriage because she needed a husband with Ketu, a Doberman. And that was also Gurudev's like caring nature. We've got the German Shepherd, but she needs a husband after some time. And then she needed a husband. Gurudev got a husband. And they lived happily ever after. And then the husband died, and then Ketu died. Just we see in a dog's life, they live generally shorter lives than humans. So we see the whole life process taking place with them. But they served at night, and they did serve at night because, sometimes people come in misguided, thinking that they will profit by taking something from Krishna, but it is not possible. Not if you have a German Shepherd and a Doberman. So they did service at night, and in the day they stayed inside, and at night they roamed, and they had much character, for sure. They are very intelligent. But dog is a different character than a cow. The cow, Krishna knew the names of all of the calves, and they had, I don't know how many thousands of calves. It's inconceivable when we read Srimad Bhagavatam. Many things are inconceivable, but we accept happily. But in the evening, Krishna, they put the calves to rest, and Krishna will tell the calves stories before they go to rest, before they rest in the night. It's there in Garga Sangita, is that description. Mother Jashoda, hearing about the demons, and she's very afraid when she hears this story about a demon came here, a demon came there, and then very afraid that in the day Krishna's out with the boys are there with the calves, and she's very afraid for Krishna. And then one day Krishna comes home, and so much anxiety in Jashoda. And then Jashoda and Nanda, they're hearing about these demons. Oh, Krishna's come back, and they don't want him to go anywhere out of their sight at all. So they tell to Krishna. Mother Jashoda tells Krishna, tonight, just come, have your supper and go to bed. Don't go to the calves. Don't go to the Goshala outside anywhere. I'll tell the stories. I'll tell stories to the cows this evening. You go and go to bed. I mean, so sweet. This is Mother Yashoda. So by each pastime, we get to little glimpse into the beautiful life of Goloka Vrindavan. So let us not forget the goal. I mean, the goal, it's not that, oh, that's, we're going to go there now. That's, I want theme. No, the goal, that is our natural home, a life of love with the Lord. Lord Sri Krishna, reality, the beautiful, the origin of all, the home, our heart's home to be found there by the grace of the residents of that land, the devotees. And this comes again to the fortunate connection of Vaishnava, Guru, Shastra. They're all coming to take us home, and especially Sri Vaishnava and Sri Guru. This is our actual connection. Hare Krishna. Yes, Paramananda Prabhu.
Oh, Maharaj, just before we get there, we have to learn how to serve, how to be in that environment. And I was about to say something about Siddhanti Maharaj. As many of us know, he is from a well-to-do family, upscale family, very wealthy. And they inquired him, their son, what are you doing in India? You've been spending so much time in there. And he described what he was doing, but the main thing he pointed out, that he was doing some menial service to his master, including taking care, walking his dogs. That was his answer. And really, that was, he was happily doing, but think about it. Upscale parents receiving some news. Oh my, I'm very happy here. I'm just cleaning the toilets and cow shed and also taking care of the dogs of my master. So that kind of reply, and really that's something that can qualify us to get near to that land that you just described, Maharaj.
So many beautiful Vaishnava examples. And next time, in a few days' time, I'll make a note too, and let us go through, oh, hey, Vaishnava Thakura, and maybe some other aspect, but it'll focus on the Vaishnavas and not superficial, not, oh, the Vaishnava, there's just like any other person, but they got these qualities. No, that this Vaishnava is so important. And we're automatically touching on it by remembering the devotees, headed by Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, headed by Srila Prabhupada, headed by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, headed by each of these, exemplary, the special Vaishnavas, those ambassadors of the upper world, but all of the Vaishnavas, all the devotees who are trying to do the right thing, following their directions, they're all so valuable to us. So let us pick up this theme next time, unless there's something which comes up. And very happily today with you all, and happily taking our consciousness to some degree to Navadip, to Mayapur, to the place of Mahaprabhu's advent, the holiest of holy places, which soon will be Gaura Purnima. Don't forget that. We have Vyasaputra, Sri Vyasaputra of Srila Gurudev coming very soon, after 2 weeks and 2 days, 21st of December, and then then there will be Nityananda Trayodashi presently, and then Gaura Purnima. But Gaura Purnima will become very soon. Navadip is the potency of Navadip in Kali Yuga is increasing, whereas the potency of so many other dhams connected with the Supreme Lord, connected with Vishnu, as well as all the holy places elsewhere, is decreasing as Kali Yuga goes on. But Navadip Dham is standing prominent, and so we can be reminded about Navadip Dham now and prepare ourselves too always to remember about Navadip. We don't even know if we'll live long enough to hear the glories in Gaura Purnima time. So we can always try to put Navadip Dham in our heart. Keep it in our heart, the place of distribution of love of God. That distribution coming through Nitai and Gauranga, through Guru and Gauranga, through the Vaishnavas, through Guru, through Gauranga. Jai Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. And we do encourage you. I know you're living at home, many of you not in the temples, but do try to keep some sadhana in the morning and evening. These songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, that's been given to us by Guru Maharaj and Gurudev for our morning to sing something. If not singing aloud, if you're living in a flat or something, you know, somehow to relish and to sing along and try to understand the message which is there. It's not just a song in, you know, some foreign language for us to try to, just because it's the fashion, but the message which is there is all to help mold our heart in one sense, but remove our misconceptions and find out the proper conception to be guided nicely. Yes, Praneshwari, very briefly.
Yes, very briefly, Maharaj. Today in Bhakti Yoga for Kids, we had our beautiful Vimala Devi Dasi, Vimala Didi. She told the story Mother Yashoda binding Lord Krishna in a very sweet way, really sweet way. And in the chat, Maharaj, there is a question. So if you can answer in 2 minutes, is from Nahush.
Yeah, I just saw that general question from Nahush. And by the way, welcome, Nahush. I'm not sure if we properly welcomed you earlier when you joined in, but certainly welcome. And the question is general question. I leave it to more advanced devotees to ask, but is it true the cows get a human life in their next birth? And the answer is, it may be. In general, it's considered that when a cow dies, he takes his birth in the mode of goodness as a human. When a tiger dies, anyway, I forget about it, he takes his birth in the mode of passion. And when a monkey dies, is that right? Takes his birth in the mode of ignorance. I'm not sure. I remember reading something like that somewhere. However, we also know from Gurudev that all of these things which are given in the scripture, they have a certain time, place, and circumstance attached to it, and they're not like hard and fast mechanical rules. And we do not know when we are going like here, the cows, okay, they do go out, but we see like the mass, where the cows, so many cows in a small space, only being born, growing up, eating, dying, and being slaughtered. Then, but in a tiny place, each one has only a tiny place to stand. We see it all the time. It's like the mechanization or something of the farm industry. Anyway, then we look at that and we think, I also think, so these cows, what is their future? And is it that these cows are those who slaughtered them last life, being again and again being slaughtered? I do not know. So we can't say that there's hard and fast rules everywhere. And we can think that the cow in the natural environment will be heading that way. But I cannot say a definite yes or a definite no. It all depends on time, place, circumstance. Hare Krishna. But definitely when we see the commercial farming, it's so obvious, the inhumanity, the insensitivity in the whole business. And no wonder there is reaction in the world. It's highly sinful. For the sake of money. But anyway, again, reminder that it's Kali Yuga. So what is the big plus in Kali Yuga? that we have the chanting of the holy names. This is the big plus, because what is achieved by the chanting of the holy name is in Kali Yuga is not achieved. That entrance to the highest quarter of the land of the Lord is not achieved. In other ages, by the great penances, sacrifices, etc., etc., the formalities that are observed in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, and Dwapara Yuga, extremely rarely will somebody have the opportunity to go to the Goloka conception. This has been distributed by Mahaprabhu through the holy name in this age of Kali. And so let us take all the positive things here, and whether anything like this that we read or hear something about, oh, cow will become a human or anything else, it may or may not be, depending on the circumstance. And maybe, if maybe somebody will say, oh no, it happens in 100% of the cases, it may be, but it won't affect our Krishna consciousness, if you know what I mean, to know everything. But it is generally understood in this way. All right, dear devotees, gently over time, look forward to being with you next time, and to honor the Vaishnavas always. And next week we'll give a little extra focus about the glories of the Vaishnavas as presented to us by the Vaishnavas. And who knows who is a Vaishnava? A Vaishnava can recognize a Vaishnava. So we hear from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Guru Maharaj, Gurudev, etc., about the qualities of Vaishnavas. Jai, wonderful Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai, wonderful Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rockok Sridhar Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. And Jai, wonderful Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Seeing we're using the word wonderful for each of them. And Jai, if we're going to use English words, Lion Guru, Singha Guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai. And like a lion, he was ferocious to the envious and to all the wrong things, but he was as gentle as anything to the cubs, to the devotees, to those who came to his shelter. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki Jai, and Sri Rupanuga Guru Vaga ki Jai. The present day Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. And Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda ki Jai. All the assembled devotees ki Jai. Headed by Kumkum Dasi and Paramananda Prabhu and Devipriya Dasi. All long time Bhagavan Prabhu. Actually, each of you, there's a special mention to each of you. My humble obeisances to one and all, and to all the worldwide devotees ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Bancha Kalpa Rubiascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat and Barun, thank you for your question.
Maharaj ki Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for your questions. Nahush, thank you for yours and the contributions. And Paramananda Prabhu from Kumkum, Praneshwari, all Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Dandavat Bhagavan Prabhu.